saw a therapist on this app that gave some really bad advice. And there's some good therapists on TikTok, man. Like to be able to go and source some of the most sought after points that you need to get through in your life through licensed therapists. If that's the thing that you go through, I feel like you can learn from anybody. But the people that are here to do that as their profession, like you're in a good place in a lot of spaces on TikTok. But like I said, I ran into a therapist on the For You page who had some horrendous advice, and I'm gonna tell you what it was. Now, to give context, she was speaking on people who are feeling a great amount of guilt, rage, anger regarding the sufferings of others in this world, most notably what's happening overseas. And as she opened her mouth, I'm like, oh my God, this is the first therapist I ever come across that hasn't pushed people to a path of peace. She said, if you're feeling any of those feelings, good. You're not abnormal. Matter of fact, this is exactly what we need as a collective consciousness so that we could be aware of what's going on in these places so that we don't sit complacent where we are when we could be doing something. She said, so if you're afraid, you should be. If you're angry, you absolutely should be. You should probably be more angry. Now, I catch the sentiment that she aims to have, but as a therapist, I do expect her to be a better vessel to help people source the emotions that they're going through and settle with what response, not reaction, they'll have to things that are happening on this planet regarding the sufferings of humanity that we cannot control. Now, does it mean that since you can't control what's happening, you should withdraw any level of empathy, emotion, or focus on the other happenings of the world? No. But let me tell you something about what gratitude does. When you decide to look at somebody's situation, have empathy for what they're feeling, be angry at the injustice, all of these things that are good. And when you decide to go inward and look at your circumstances that do not match the shock state that theirs is currently in, and you become keenly aware of the things that are readily available and accessible to you versus what you see somewhere else, you get this gratefulness for the things around you. You can become more present. You can become more porous to the positivity that exists around you, which causes you to feel whole and grateful and peaceful within. And when you are like that and present, and you take that energy and you live with it and you go to your places like work or school or home, wherever you're at, it has a contagious effect on those around you. You being present might allow you to notice somebody in your life and a need of theirs that can be met quite easily, and it's in your power to do something about it. And maybe you're listening to this and you're saying like, okay, but is that stopping any wars? I could get deep with you and tell you yes, but I know what you're getting at and what you're speaking to. But what I'm here to say is whatever you think on, whatever you ponder on, whatever you allow to be your present point of focus is what you'll get more of. So if you're in a state of fear, if you're in a state of anger, if you're in a state of anxiety, stress, trauma, there is nothing that can rescue you from that without the idea first being that the possibility of peace, the possibility of positivity, prosperity, wholesomeness, health is an accessible reality. It starts there no matter what. Like there's people that soon as slavery ended, they stayed on the plantation. But then there's people that as soon as that law went into act, they got up and left. Two sets of people that just left the same circumstance, but are doing different things entirely because of what is happening here. And I'm sure if you sat down and talked to both of them separately, that they have good reasons for where they're at. So really it becomes, where do you want to be? And what do you believe about where you're at and where that's going to take you? Because if you believe it's a positive destination, then your thoughts wouldn't be ones of despair, fear, trauma, and anger, rage. All of these emotions, when felt in combination, can create a concoction of unpredictability, lashing out, division, disruption, confusion. I'll share one more example. This hit me like the other week and it stuck with me, and it's just been unfolding in different ways in my life. But if you've ever bought a new car before, right? Or somebody very close to you that did, tell me if this is your reality. You bought that car and then all of a sudden you start seeing that car more and more out in the streets in public. You know, it's like, dang, you know, I'm seeing a whole bunch of, I don't know, Honda Civics or Ford Mustangs, whatever car you bought, you're seeing more of it. And it also works in the idea of like, if you have a favorite car and you just start seeing it all over the place. Do you think that because you started to focus on that car that all of a sudden, you know, the car plant just decided to print more or manufacture more of the cars and push them out to the public for your eyes to see? Or did you just become keenly aware by thought and action association through you buying into that car? You became more keenly aware of it around you when beforehand it wasn't reaching your frequency because you wasn't on that. In the same way, you need to buy into a positive way of thinking. You need to buy into peace. You need to buy into love. You need to purchase that in your life with your decisions, with your thoughts. So when one comes across that doesn't reflect that, don't judge yourself. Don't say, I'm the one that produced that. Like, what? You know how many crazy thoughts we have every day that have no business being in our psyche? Let it go by. Only pick the ones up that's good. Buy into it and watch how you'll start to see more of it in your life. Because when you buy into the opposite, that's just the law of the universe. You are going to get more of that. And I've realized that. I'm realizing that. And when you see that, you realize that you really in control. And the stuff that can break people down can really start to not touch you. You start like to become Neo in the Matrix. I'm telling you. So yes, that therapist dropped some pretty bad advice. But you know, therapists need therapy too. So I'm sending peace, love, positivity, and healing her way.